Hello, and welcome to the training video for SymDirect. This training video covers how you can use the new electronic lodgement system for your submissions to your various lenders. To start the process, whilst we're in SymmetryCRM, you'll notice that there's a new icon listed down below next to the blue E. This is whilst we're in a loan within the account, where we can click on the new icon for SymDirect. It opens up a new window where we can then press View in SymmetryDirect, which will allow us to then use the new SymDirect lodgement system. When you click on it for the first time, you'll see that it's downloading the latest validation rules in case there's been any changes to the lender's acceptance for your electronic submissions. And like the previous electronic lodgement system, it is broken up into various sections. Now, everything that's been entered within SymmetryCRM will populate your electronic application, whereas there will still need to be more updates or changes or inclusions throughout the application. So when you first go in, you'll notice that it's opened up the CBA tab, knowing that this loan is going to CBA. The first tab, being the Person tab, allows us to see the first applicant and any other loan parties involved. This is the main heading of the person or contact card or customer card. And to go into this particular person, we click on the pencil to modify or edit, and it then goes into more detail about the specific applicant. Broken into various areas of the Details tab, including their role or party type within the loan, if they're the primary applicant, their name, date of birth, marital status, housing status, and various other details that are specific to them. The next tab is the Contact tab. Now, this is obviously all the contact details relating to this particular person, where you have home, work, mobile numbers, email address, current address, and post-settlement address, as well as previous address if required. Current employment, again, very straightforward, breaks down each area of that person's employment. So firstly, if it's PAYG or self-employed, their employment status, their job role, as well as if it's the contact details of the employer, and also, as a side note, the income that's connected to that employer as well. The previous employment section is only used if the client's employment doesn't meet lender criteria of either 2 years or 3 years worth of history. So this area would only need to be completed if current employment fell short of the mark. Privacy in this particular section looks more about the documents panel or the document information regarding to the person's ID. So here you can make a selection if it's either the primary photographic ID, primary non-photographic, and secondary ID. When you make a selection, it will then take you to the next field, which is the document type, where you can then select if it's a passport or driver's license or any other photographic IDs that are considered primary by lenders. Again, once a selection is made, it will then ask you to fill out more fields. So the blue fields indicate that these are mandatory fields that must be completed when filling out the rest of the information. So expiry date is a mandatory field that must be filled out. Name on the document number in this case being a driver's license would be the driver's license number. Now obviously to add more IDs, so if there's more than one ID available to that person, you can click on the add button, which will just add another documents panel below. And again, to start the process, you can select if it's primary photographic or primary non-photographic ID. And again, we'll give you different selections. As per normal, the red cross will allow you to delete an entry. So if the driver's license is the only required ID, I can click on the red cross here to remove the birth certificate and be left with the one document panel again. Now for navigation, you can use the tabs, which are easy to use. Also, the green arrows pointing left and right also allow for navigation. So in case there's multiple areas within a particular tab that you may or may not have seen, you can click on the green arrow, which will take you to the next available section. So again, in other incomes, we can see here, if applicable, I can press add to add in the income types, and there are other various income types such as add backs, government benefits, superannuation, or anything else like bonuses or commission that can also be added to the application. Finally, in the Responsible Lend tab, you'll notice here this is purely around the NCCP requirements for future changes, where you can answer yes or no if there's future changes. If it's a yes, it will require what kind of change it is the clients are expecting, and more importantly, how is that going to be mitigated with that particular change. Now, once you're finished on a particular tab, you can press save. And you'll notice here on the top heading, it does advise the user that the application's been saved. Once you finish with that tab, you can click on the green arrows to take you to the next tab. And as you can see, we're now in the company section. Otherwise, you can click on the various sections in whatever order you like to enter information into your application. Please note that the Company tab is only used if there's any applicants or guarantors where there's a company involved within the submission. When you click Add, you'll notice here that it has all the fields and all the relevant tabs that will relate to a company applicant. Once again, the sub-tabs involved within companies such as Other Incomes and Responsible Lend are the same as what you would see in a person applicant, where it's looking at other incomes as well as responsible lending questions to future changes. The financial position links all with the assets, liabilities, and expenses that have been entered into SymmetryCRM. You'll notice that it also has a summary heading, which will show the client's total financial position broken down in assets, liabilities, and total expenses. Again, we can click on the Add button to put in the savings account in terms of how is that cash literally stored. And the only mandatory field on this particular area is just the value on how much is in that account. Again, liabilities are broken down into various sections. So not only it's got loans, it's got credit cards and other liabilities separated. And expenses link back to all the living expenses associated with the household. Real estate. So the real estate section not only links back to security real estate properties that are involved within the submission, but also any particular properties that can be considered an asset as well. So it may not actually be used within the submission or used as security for the loan. In the real estates area, you can see once we break down the property, it's in 4 sub-tabs. Usage, so again determining if this is a security property or not, if it's being purchased, or if it's owned outright where there's no encumbrance or mortgage connected to the property. The property tab again goes into a bit more detail about the property itself in terms if it's owner occupied or investment, if it's residential or commercial, what type of property, so if it's a house or an apartment, and the value of that property. Title is in there, so the main fields to worry about is the title tenure and the title type, and then contact for access for that property. So if it's an agent or the vendor, the applicant or a tenant. Now products is broken into various sections where you've got the summary and the product itself. So summary shows all the loans or splits involved within the particular product. So you'll notice here if I have more than one loan or split, so I'll just click on add here, where another product can be selected. Things like the amount, expected settlement date, and the total loan term are all mandatory fields that are required. Features, things like LODOC, credit card, or any other features that can be involved can be selected. Packages, so again, if there's a pro pack or any other special that the assessor needs to be aware of. And all the other things such as purposes, fees, payment options, and customer contribution for this particular loan are all broken down in more detail. Again, you can press save, and if you click on the products button, you'll notice that there are 2 products now showing that information. So the products heading will show you all the loans. When it comes to summary, this is summary in terms of your total loan amount, the solicitor who needs to be involved, and also the nominated authority to receive the loan documents. When going into standard variable or selecting the actual product names, that's taking you to the specific product, again with all those tabs previously shown. Alright, now in terms of additional, this is where you can put in related parties. So they can be solicitors, and they can also be any other third parties that are indirectly involved with the loan. So to add a third party or related party in, just click on add. Again, it wants to know what type of third party it might be. It could be a solicitor or conveyancer with all their details that can be connected to the loan. When clicking on the heading here, you can remove those entries from the list. So rather than going into each record, you can click on the red cross here to remove a particular related party. Select yes, and now you only see the 2 third-party entries that were previously there. Also in the additional area, it's very, very important to note that the comments field is located in the additional tab as well. So these are your notes that would go to the assessor, and also any explanations or justifications that they need to be aware of. Finally, the submission tab has all the broker details and any other information that you'd need before you press the submit application button. Now with this electronic application, some of the action buttons are available here at the top, where there's validate, which will help you find all the issues in relation or all the mandatory fields that must be filled out. The user knows that it's in validation mode because the arrows have now turned red, that used to be green, and more importantly, down below on the bottom half of the page here, it shows a list of all the issues or all the mandatory fields that must be completed before submission. You'll also notice here that with the exclamation mark, the red exclamation mark, are also available on each of the tabs, so you know that at least every single area has at least one of those fields. To close validation mode down, hit the cross here on the little page, and it'll even advise that validation mode is now off. Save can be pressed. As mentioned throughout the video, when entering information, application can be saved. And the print button allows the user to print, such as the lender documents that might be used, which will also be populated. Once hit print, it will offer to download the document, and like any web-based system, you open or save that particular document, and it will now be available. Finally, with the loan status section, this will show all the status messages that this loan has received with the lender. So in terms of if it's been marked as conditional approval, if there's any other previous status messages that are showing, it will all be showing within the list. And finally, using your SymDirect lodgement system, the application manager is available to you to see all your loans in a list, and you can retrieve all of those loans within this list. And not only that, if you need to search for a particular application, once you're in Application Manager, there is a search options available to the user where you can put in specific filters or parameters on your search, where you can make your selection. It will then automatically reapply the filter. Thank you very much for watching this video today, and please stay on the lookout for more videos on SymmetryCRM.